8 months ago, we moved onto our off grid homestead, onto a raw piece of property with no electricity, no running water, living in an RV with our family to start our homestead. The experience has been both extremely rewarding and also extremely exhausting. And I want to share the top 16 things that I wish I would have known going into it. There are so many things to learn when you are going through this process. I want to share what we have experienced. So maybe if you are thinking about starting an off grid homestead, you one, know what to expect, and two, know if it is even something that you want to do, because it is a huge lifestyle shift that you really need to think carefully about. First thing I learned is that basic survival skills take a lot of time. We are so used to, in our modern convenient world, to just throwing dishes in the dishwasher and turning it on, throwing clothes in the washing machine, having the washing machine clean them, being able to turn on your faucet and have running water instead of having to go and collect water. All of these modern conveniences, when you move onto an off-grid homestead, they go away. And in order to meet your needs, it takes a lot of extra time. Now, having these skills is very beneficial, knowing how to do your laundry in an off-grid situation, how to find water if you're in an off-grid situation. Like, all of these things are very useful and beneficial. We have learned what conveniences we want and need in order to make us happy. So moving forward, it is important for us to be able to find a balance that works for us, to free up some of our time by finding some efficient modern conveniences that work into our off-grid situation. That might mean investing money in the future into a nicer solar setup so that we have more electricity to run some appliances that are going to make our lives easier. It is not a black and white situation, and it is going to look different for every single person on what they need in order to make it efficient for them and work for their personal life and their family. So it is important when you are thinking about your off-grid setup, your homestead, and to not judge other people for the way that they are setting up their off-grid homestead. I am a person who likes to research a lot. I can sit there and I can read all day long, and I love researching and learning about things. But I have discovered that research is only 10% of knowing how to do things, learning how to do things. And it is 90% doing things, experimenting, failing, figuring things out in real life. So if you are a researcher, a planner, just know that you are going to have to let some of that go, and you are going to have to do more and research less. Yes, researching is good. It is good to get a little bit of background knowledge, but you don't actually learn the thing until you do it. That is something that I'm going to work on moving forward, is researching a little bit and then doing it before I feel like I am 100% ready, because you're never going to be 100% ready, and you are going to learn so much more by implementing the things that you want to learn and messing up, fixing it, figuring it out. When there's a problem, go back, do a little bit more research, and then go and do it. Do the thing. That is why it is so important, even if you don't have a homestead yet, even if you're just dreaming about having a homestead, practice as many skills as you can today. There are so many things that you can learn in an apartment, in a city, in an urban area, in a neighborhood with a small piece of land. You can grow herbs. You can learn how to dry herbs. Even if you can't grow them, you can go to the store and get herbs and dry them in your house. You can learn how to make your own soap, learn how to make candles, cook from scratch, ferment things, make your own herbal remedies. Go out and forage as much as you can. There are so many things that you can learn today, no matter where you are. Moving forward this winter, I think I'm going to be doing a lot of things that you can do, even in a house, even in a city type videos. So let me know if you are interested in learning how to do some of those things. Next is consumerism is taking over everything, including the homestead space. When you watch a lot of homestead videos, a lot of them are very aesthetically pleasing, and you can get caught up in the looks of things. And while looking nice is good in all of that. Most people who are starting homesteading, including us, do not have a lot of money to invest into it right up front. And it is going to be smarter to use what you have, make do with what you have, use free resources, and that is not going to be the most aesthetically pleasing thing. So you have to get out of the consumer mindset when you are beginning your off-grid homestead and know that initially it might not be the most beautiful, perfect thing that you want in the long run, but you can work towards that goal of getting it exactly how you want and just be okay with making things useful and efficient and not necessarily the most beautiful, aesthetically pleasing thing that you see on social media, because generally those people have a lot of money to spend on making things look just right. Next, water. Water, water, water. Water is so important. I know that we all know this. We all know how important water is, but until you have to go and outsource your water, find water, haul water, you do not realize the importance of water, how necessary it is, how heavy water is, how powerful water is, and how important water is. This is why, even if you are not living on a homestead yet, you're in a city, no matter where you are, who you are, you have got to make sure that you have access to clean drinking water all the time. You never know when a natural disaster is going to happen, when a disaster in general, an emergency, when the water coming out of your faucet might not be available to you. It might not be clean. It might not be there at all. And you need multiple backup plans for having safe, clean drinking water, bathing water, cleaning water for your dishes. Like, we use water so much and we don't really think about it and appreciate it. And you don't realize it until you are in an off grid situation and you realize water is life. I did a whole video on our water system set up in our off grid situation. And then another video where I talk about items that you should have to be prepared for an emergency. And I will link those down below in the description for you to go watch next. The next thing that was pretty surprising is that I rarely miss electricity. While I do miss having running water, I don't necessarily miss not being able to turn on a light switch or, watch TV. Like, those things don't matter to me very much at all. We do have a small battery pack. It's a solar charge battery pack that we have been able to, like, charge our phones, charge our laptops. We can run our TV to watch movies on a DVD player. Occasionally, we'll run some basic kitchen appliances like a toaster or a blender. We have not had a refrigerator or freezer, and that has probably been the most disappointing thing as far as the electricity. But I am pretty surprised that I didn't miss electricity nearly as much as I missed having running water. We do plan on putting in a solar system when we build our house. So, I mean, that'll be nice and convenient and stuff like that. But if our electricity goes out, it's really just not a big deal to me whatsoever. Next is that building a home is a very, very, very slow process. So we found our property last November, and it took us 4 months to even close on the property. Just in the county that we had, the property was being subdivided from a larger piece of land, and it took the county 4 months to get the survey approved. There wasn't really anything wrong. It was just slow. Our county is really slow. We live in a tiny little county, and we should have known at that point that things in this small town move at a very slow pace. So everything has been very slow. We have been on a wait list to get a well installed for months, and we are still waiting for an install date. We did finally get our septic in, um, but it just takes a very long time. You have to be patient, and nothing happens fast here. I'm an optimist, so I like to think that it was for the best, because we honestly have had a whole lot of other stuff going on that we have been working on the homestead. And so, like, starting building a house would have taken up all of our free time, and we wouldn't have been able to do some of the other things and really just slow down and enjoyed our property. We do have shelter. We are going to get it done eventually. So we're just going to have to like slow down and be patient, and it'll happen when it happens. We're animal lovers. We knew this might be a problem, but we wanted to add all the animals to our property immediately upon moving here. So we ended up, with some equines, with a new puppy, a new cat. The cat found us, and a bunch of chickens. So just be prepared that if you want to add animals to your property and you have the land, you're probably going to be ready to add them before you're necessarily ready for them. But you just have to get ready fast. We installed an entire electric fence in 2 days when we brought our rescue mule home, and we had to get it done. We got our chickens before we had a chicken coop, and we built the chicken coop pretty fast. And so it just motivated us to get things done ASAP. Since being here, we have really developed a super deep connection with nature. And I have always been an outdoor person. I always enjoy being outside. But when you are living outside basically all the time, like, you don't even understand what we're missing living in our modern society. When you are off grid, you wake up when the sun comes up and you go to bed when the sun sets. Follow this rhythm of nature that you really do not get to experience when you are living in a normal house with electricity and all of those things. And then with that comes the complete lack of control that you actually have with nature. And we saw that very deeply with the Hurricane Helene that came through and really destroyed a whole lot of Western North Carolina and an area very close to where we live. You just really have very little control about what nature gives you. When you wake up in the morning, you get dressed based on what the temperature is like outside, because you're going to be outside in whatever temperature it is. And so you have to prepare yourself. You don't get to choose if it is rainy or dry. You put on your rain clothes. Go and you water the garden if you have to, if there is no rain. You learn to become part of the ecosystem that you are living in and work with it and try not to destroy it or disturb it or make it angry, so that it can work with you and you can work with it. Life is so much more simple out here when you are away from all of like rush hour traffic, getting to work on time, like waking up early, being here, being there, trying to get all of these things done. It is so simple and peaceful out here. Even when things take more time, when you don't have those modern conveniences like, hand washing dishes or cutting your own firewood, going and hauling water, like those things are a lot of work and they do take time, but they are very simple things. I think that that is one reason why a lot of people are interested in homesteading, interested in living off grid, is because we are so busy in our modern world and we are tired, and it is so much and it is so overwhelming to a lot of people that they crave that simplicity. And it is a much simpler life out here. It is very peaceful. It is very quiet. The noises that you hear are peaceful noises: insects, birds, cows, the wind through the trees. Like, those are relaxing noises and not noises like traffic and sirens and cars honking and just airplanes. Like, those are stressful noises. Being able to just wake up when the sun comes up, go to bed when it starts to get dark, just playing outside in nature, like going outside in the morning and being outside all day, and just having a natural rhythm to you that you don't get to experience otherwise, or you don't get to fully experience otherwise. This simple life has just been very rewarding. It is really important to experience all 4 seasons on your property before you make big plans. This is one reason why I'm kind of glad, like, we haven't built our house yet. We haven't done anything super permanent on our property, and we have been kind of forced to slow down a little bit, is because it is really important to learn your property, the seasons, the sun, the rainfall, just the wind, where the wind's coming from, what direction it usually comes from, and getting to know all of these things on your property before you build your house, before you build anything permanent, especially if you're going to be off grid and depending on solar and the sun is very powerful in knowing where to build your house so it can be the most energy efficient possible, is really helpful to just slow down, experience all four seasons before you do anything super permanent. Like we live on top of a mountain, and even just driving 5 minutes into town, like the climate on our property 5 minutes up the mountain is completely different than 5 minutes going into town. So just like knowing, you can do some research on the area where you're living and know the climate and all that stuff. But like your actual property is its own ecosystem, it's its own thing, it's its own side of the mountain, its own trees, like the shade and all of that stuff. It's just really important to know your particular property and experience all of that before you make any permanent decisions. It is also super important to find balance. There is always going to be so much to do, so many projects to get to, so many goals to achieve, and you are going to get burnt out if you do not just find a balance and learn to relax and learn to slow down. And we are very get it done people, and we will work really, really hard before we start to get burnout. And we have to learn how to recognize that burnout before it happens so that we know to take a break and relax and just let things go for a little bit and like listen to our bodies and our minds and just calm down. Some days we get up and we work from sunrise to sunset and we go hardcore to get things done. And then other days we just hang out and have a nice relaxing day, and allowing yourselves to have both of those days can be really beneficial because not only do you have all these other projects and things you want to get done, but like just the daily task of just cooking and cleaning and just getting your basic needs met also takes a lot of time. It is important to focus on long-term goals more so than short-term goals. So we have started implementing like this long-term goal thing where we have like a goal for 10 years, we have a 5-year goal, then we have a 1-year goal, then we have a 3-month goal, we have a month goal and a 1-week goal, like knowing what the plan looks like 10 years down the road and aiming for that, and then making adjustments further on down the line, like closer to you, is going to be really beneficial in making sure that you are headed in the right direction. A lot of what you learn is going to be learn as you go. You are really not going to know everything that you need to know until you do it, until you're in it. You're not going to even know what it is that you need to know. Like, it's important to learn and research homesteading and all the things that you need to do before you get there, but you're not really going to actually learn stuff until you get there and are doing it. So don't think that you have to have all the answers and know all the things before you start. You don't. You never will. You just have to start. You have to do it. And just be open to learning and experiencing things and knowing that you're going to have to research stuff as you go. And you're going to fail a lot. Living this life is hard. It is hard work. It is hard physically. It is hard mentally some days. And you have to be prepared to challenge yourself, to think outside the box, and know that it is going to be hard, but also so rewarding. At least it has been for us. You have to be able to set realistic goals, take breaks when needed, and know when to listen to your body and your mind, and when to take a break, when to relax, and when to keep working and push through. At the same time, some things are a lot easier than you think that they are. For us, living without electricity has been really easy. Being able to make your own schedule and do things at your own pace is so much more enjoyable than following somebody else's schedule and doing things when somebody else is telling you to do them. Learning things is really enjoyable. Being able to, have something that you need to learn, something that you need to do, and learning that task is so rewarding. If you want to see how we are able to afford living on our homestead without a 9-to-5 job and without a lot of money or a huge income or anything like that, you can check out this video next. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time.